My guest today is John Fuhrman. John is the chief rub master of Bub and Mutha's, a veteran-owned gourmet dry rub company with a Maine attitude. Okay, how do you say that in Maine? Now their flavors can be used on just about anything from pork to beef, avocado toast, one of my personal favorites, fried zucchini, and so much more. And for every 10,000 units sold, Bub and Mutha's hires an area veteran full-time for 1 year. So proudly made in Winter Harbor, Maine, the company ships across the United States. John, welcome to the Go for Launch podcast.
Hey, thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, a couple things we want to get out of the way. Bub and Mutha's. We got to spell this out. Of course, it'll be in the show notes at goforlaunch.io/show 103. But Bub, BUBNMUTHAS.com. Bub and Mutha's. Where'd that name come from? Bub and Mutha's.
Well, I've always been involved in business and in sales and in marketing. And after living down in the Carolinas for 5 years, I ended up back here in Maine where I was born. And, a bunch of us were sitting around one night going, what would be a great name for a product? And, we came up with all kinds of Maineisms, if you will. And up here in lobster country, most of the guys that are my age and older, they just go by Bub. I mean, you walk into a restaurant, and if they know people, they say, "Hey, Bub, how are you?" And their wives, they just call them Mother. Come on, Mother, we're going now. We got to go. And I said, that would be a great name for a product. And so we came up with Bub and Mother's. We started writing slogans. And then it was like, well, what are we going to do for a product? We don't have anything, And I've always been of the mindset that if you could do something that people wouldn't expect, it has a greater impact. So, our thing is, when you think of Maine, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Lobster.
And we tell everybody, it's great barbecue. So we have this, Maine made dry rub, which people are like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You guys have winter, and literally I took the knowledge that I got from the Carolinas about blending spices, and I added some Maine ingredients to it that absolutely changed the whole flavor profile. So that was the genesis of the name and the product all in one.
All right. We got a lot to unpack, of course, in this whole story. So let's talk about, first of all, let's explain to people who are listening who may not be familiar with what a rub is, R-U-B. Can you tell us what that is for those who aren't barbecue aficionados?
Yeah, generally a rub is just something that you're going to put on your meat before you cook it. And generally, if you take like ribs, just as an easy example, if you're going to cook them in a smoker, everybody tells you low and slow. And a lot of times they'll rub both sides with a dry rub, let it cook for 2 to 3 hours, right? And people say, geez, I cook ribs a lot faster than that. True. But that low and slow really lets it absorb the flavor. And usually what it is, it's a blend of spices that someone would design specifically, for meats or fish or what have you. What we did was we blended the right spice mix and used a lot less salt so that one rub could be used on virtually anything, rather than I have a pork rub, I have a beef rub. One of the great pitmasters over in Nashville said to me, you invited me in his kitchen. He goes, see that can? Yeah, that's the only flavor rub I use. I use it on everything. And he said, everything else is just salt. More salt for one flavor, less salt for another. And I thought about that, and I said, as a new company, if I could limit my flavors and just produce a lot of that, I'm going to be a lot better off in the marketplace. I can be more competitive. You don't have to charge $30 an ounce or something because your production costs are so high.
Right. So, well, the other interesting thing you said, John, was that you came up with the name first, which is unusual. And then you said, let's come up with a product. So did you have a background in food preparation or manufacturing before, or what made you go to the food equation?
A man's got to eat. It's kind of an odd thing. What happened again, living down in the Carolinas, like people say, what's better cuisine? You guys down there are noted for seafood as well, as are we up here. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. But while I was down there, I I started paying attention to barbecue because there is so much of it, so many varieties, and it's the Eastern Carolina versus the Western Carolina is like Duke and North Carolina. It's like this huge rivalry.
Right. Yeah. See, I'm in Charlotte. I'm like over in the east, the western part of the state. So,
Right.
but I like Eastern barbecue, man. You picked your sides, right? And then of course North Carolina versus Texas, or you mentioned other places,
Tennessee. Yeah.
Tennessee, Louisiana, different places claim, hey, they've got the best barbecue. And some people don't even think of barbecue. They don't think pork. They think beef, right? Like out in Texas.
Texas
Yeah.
is a beef country. Tennessee, Memphis, the Carolinas, it's the pork. And then you go down to Alabama, and their barbecue is white sauce.
Mm.
It's like, how the heck did they get in? But it's all good. And yet all of those places have some type of rub underlying, and some of it is as simple as salt and pepper to as complex as you'd want to get, where they have 15 or 20 ingredients. And they all have their good points. I decided to stay neutral rather than get into the sauce business, which is like crazy. I would just stick with the dry rub. And if people want to put sauce on it, that's fine. I personally like the sauce on the side, to where I'll just, whatever I'm eating, if I want some sauce, I'll dip it in or I'll sprinkle a little bit on. And the dry rub is involved longer in the cooking process, regardless of what you're using it on. So, as I ate it, I like to experiment in the kitchen, so I got some of these guys to kind of show me how to make it, and then of course it's like anything else a guy would get involved in. If you go to a driving range and you hit a couple of golf balls, next thing you know, you're buying, the best golf clubs and taking lessons. Well, I did. I learned how to make a rub. Then I had to go out and get a smoker and then a grill and then and all that stuff. And then it was like, okay, have people over, and you just start cooking all the time. So even though I've never really been in the restaurant business, I've literally cooked barbecue for now going on 10 years.
Okay. So there obviously tons of experimentation. Like you said, you were sort of a mad scientist. You hit a couple golf balls. In your case, you started throwing spices together, mixing it up. At what point, though, John, did you say, all right, if we're going to do a product, obviously this has to be something that we can sell. There has to be a crazy amount of approvals, right? Do you have to get like FDA approval or anything nuts like that? I mean, I'm just saying as an amateur, if you're starting something that you're going to sell that somebody has to eat, put in their mouth, what hoops do you have to jump through?
Not as many as you think. No, we don't need FDA approval because we don't cure male pattern baldness if you get it on your hair or anything like that. It's a flavor. So the biggest certification is where I am up in Maine, and it's like this in every state. The state will come and they will inspect wherever it is you're making it. Right. From a business standpoint, you want to go out and source the best ingredients first. And I always sound silly, and then cost second. Again, if you're looking to mass produce something and hang it on the spice shelves, you can always fall back on just adding more salt, and it's done all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the way we went. So once we got that, then we started experimenting with some Maine ingredients until we found the right stuff that we wanted to use that we could say is from here in Maine. After all of that, then we went to have it tested so that you could put those nutrition labels on the back.
And who does that? Who did that testing for you? It was like a state lab or something like that, or what?
There are labs all over the country that are certified to do it. But basically all they're doing is they're taking your ingredients, measuring the proportions, and, figuring out how many calories or sodium or what have you, and then they create that label.
And then they I'm sure they also make sure that there's nothing crazy or weird in there, right? There's no
Oh,
cyanide or
absolutely.
something that slipped in
Yeah.
there somehow, and you're like, whoops, I gotta reformulate this.
Yeah. And again, from a marketing business standpoint and a desire to keep it pure, we don't use any preservatives. Everything is 100% natural, all natural ingredients. And 100% of the ingredients are listed right on the label. So there's, I'm trying to think. Chipotle is the most syllables of any of the ingredients that we have in any of the labels. So we keep it really, really simple. And then after that, then we just had to buy barcodes, to incorporate in the label so that if a bigger store wants to carry it, they're not looking at price stickers because nobody does that anymore. It's just, scan it across, right? I mean, nobody at Harris Teeter looks at price. They
Yeah.
just scan the barcode.
Yeah,
And
Harris, let me ask you that about that part, John. So once you got it in, formulated and ready to go, did you start selling first online out of the back of your car at local shows, farmers markets, stuff like that? Or did you start going and pounding on doors of local merchants and saying
it
all
was
of it?
like,
Okay.
yeah, if anybody, people would say, well, what kind of customer are you looking for? I said, people who eat. It didn't matter to me. Like people's, when you watch like some of these business programs, they'll tell you, oh, our strategy was to go strictly online. And others, my strategy, I want to be in Walmart. We found that, yes, we have an online presence and consumers can order right off our website, but that's great. And we provide more for them. They can go and look at video recipes of us actually doing the cook so that they can follow the recipe and stuff like that. But, in the beginning, literally in the first 6 months, we got invited to Tractor Supply. Okay. And I'm a guy. I love Tractor Supply. It's a great place to go. I don't have a tractor. I don't have a farm, but it's kind of fun. And I said, well, okay, they carry grills, so it makes sense for us to be here. And we went down to the meeting, and, it was really interesting because literally in the hotel where I was staying, I mixed up a whole bunch of things that would work with the rub. I mean, if you mix it in mayonnaise, it makes a great coleslaw dressing.
Okay.
Okay. And if you mix it in sour cream, it's a nice dip, like the old French onion soup mix and the dip. So I did a couple of those, and a restaurant friend of mine actually took the honey and heat, the spicier rub, and made a margarita with it.
Ooh, nice.
And it's really good. So, I show up at the meeting. I got a little airline bottle of tequila, a little can of margarita mix, a shaker, dip, and coleslaw. And
Okay.
I mean, folks I got at this meeting were like, wait a minute, I thought this was a dry rub.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it is, but we're more than that. And I figured you'd understand the barbecue part, and I don't see a place where I can cook ribs here. So this is what I did. Anyway, long story short, we go through the meeting, and the gal who's the buyer for Tractor Supply says, well, we would probably test it regionally. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, it also gives us time as a company to figure out if this is going to be a good deal. And then comes the catch. So the way it works is they will buy at your lowest possible price point.
Okay.
So my lowest profit margin. Okay, I get that, right? They're going to buy in bigger volume. But they set numbers, and these are benchmark numbers. And if you don't sell X number of units by this date, you have to reimburse them for the units they have left. Okay?
All right.
You say, all right, well, all right, I'm either good or I'm not good. But when you add it up, if you miss by one bottle, what I would have to reimburse them by, I would lose money. All the profit that I got from the initial order would be gone, and
Right.
then,
Wow.
and I said, you know what, this is just not the way to go. And so back to the drawing board, we had one of the local regional supermarket chains, kind of like like you guys have Harris Teeter in your general area, multi-state, but down there's Hannaford Brothers, which covers
Sure.
about 6 states up here.
Yeah.
So we went into one of the Hannaford stores, And they were very nice to us. They ordered a few cases, and we got. I said, okay, great. I said, you want me to help you set them up? I'm like overboard with service because we're trying to grow.
Right.
No, we got it. So all of my other stores are selling and reordering. I get an email from the manager of the Hannaford store, and he says, John, I don't understand it. We're really not doing anything. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be in the area when I stop by. So I go and I stop by, and it's like 2 weeks, and he's already to mark them down, which, hey, the store can do whatever they want. But I know once they do that, if they don't get rid of it, we're not coming back.
Right.
So I go in and I look, and you know what the spice section in the supermarket looks like, right? I mean, it's
lots of competition on the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got like 7 rows of McCormick's, and then everybody else and everybody else. And I was literally near the floor.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Okay. Now, I said to him, listen, I get it. You're thinking spice. Okay, so I'm here with cinnamon and garlic and all that. I said, give me 2 days.
Yeah.
Let me just put it anywhere in the store I want. Give me 2 days, right? So this is funny. I paid retail for my own stuff. I bought 1 bottle of each flavor, took it to the cashier, paid for it, went to the back to the meat department where the butcher is.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, here, these are for you," And he's like, "Well, what do I take them home? Do whatever you want with them."
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care. Well, what should I use it on? Use it on whatever you're cooking. Okay, I'm going to display them right here
on the meat counter. Yeah.
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 So we put him on the meat counter. 3 days he was sold out, and reordering. And that was the light bulb for us. I said, okay, that's what we got to do. Most supermarkets are not going to let me do that. This guy just happened to be a local, Maine guy. 180 stores are not going to let me do that.
Yeah. It's interesting how, as a consumer, you see that a lot. Like you go in the grocery store and you're looking for something and you swear it should be on this shelf. Like for me, the example is always rice cakes. Like that should be, in the snack section, right? But half the time they stick it over in like the healthy foods or some other aisle, weird place, and you got to go ask, and they're like, "Oh, it's over here." Why is that, right? So in your case, you're absolutely right, John. Most of the spices, obviously, they're going to just lump them in together. Yep. With everything that you would put in stuff that you're making for soup or whatever. But if this is a product that's primarily for people grilling out beef or meat or pork or whatever, it should be over in the meat aisle. But to your point, their just mindset is probably narrow, and they don't want to put something else out there to distract the customer or whatever. Who cares? Like they're going to see it in context, to your point, and then they're going to buy more of it. So good for you for being creative. Yeah.
Well, and thank you. The whole idea is, for us, it's that learning experience as well. We're learning that we don't really want to be in the big box stores right now. So when we talk to like specialty stores, independent grocery stores, the mom and pop grocery stores, they'll say, geez, you guys are a little bit more expensive than a lot of dry rubs. I said, well, we are literally at that gourmet level. We're 100% natural, low in salt, and, real Maine ingredients. I mean, we've got dry blueberry powder in there. We've got Maine maple crystals, which would have been maple syrup. So, and Ray's Mustard, which is the oldest mustard company in America, is located right up here in Maine.
All right.
So we have an exclusive agreement. They custom grind the dry mustard we use in our rubs.
Okay.
So when we tell grocers that, they go, okay, all right, I get it. I said, now here's your choice. Okay. You can put it anywhere in the store you want. I'm just a vendor. If you put it by your spices, this is how much you can sell it for. If you put it by the meat, you can sell it for $1 more a unit.
Wow.
I said, and because it makes it special, right? I said, and in every one of those stores, I said, and I'm happy to give you to try at
Yeah.
home,
Yep.
so you can explain what you like it on for meat.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Now, some do it, some don't. That's free enterprise,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it justifies our position, in that marketplace. So as we expand, beyond the New England borders, we actually even had a store last year. I think we're going to go back into them, but they moved, called Go Sauce Yourself. They were down on Carolina Beach, and they were carrying them for us. Nice people. All they had a barbecue sauce, hot sauce, dry rubs, anything like that, and then a whole beer section. Which,
Okay.
if you're on the beach and you don't have a beer section down there, but we're going to be careful. While it's always nice to say you're in Walmart, or you're in every supermarket in America, listen, that's great when you've got acres of factory.
Right. I take it you don't, right?
No, we're under a half an acre of factory. No,
Yeah.
we're small, but that is our difference. And I don't know how big you can grow and stay small. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but we're never going to leave here. All right. We don't use co-packers because the co-packers don't like to use my local ingredients, which is what makes us unique, is using
Right.
Maine ingredients.
Yeah.
Um, so we're going to be here. Our goal is to employ people here. How many? I don't know. It will never be hundreds, at least not in my lifetime. But, put out a quality product that is not real complicated. One of my old friends said, what's great about your business? You're not saving lives or putting men on Mars. It's everybody eats. They
Yeah.
can all find something to use this for. And, that was our awakening. It's like, we had to call it something. So it's a dry rub. It's for barbecue. But, like you said earlier in the intro, people are using it on everything. They send us, we get emails every day. People use it on popcorn. They use it in their omelets. I had a gal send me a picture of, she sprinkled it on blueberries. I don't even know if I would do that.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? But okay.
Yeah.
And,
To
and
each his own, right?
that's exactly right. And I think that part of it is the way we set out when we first blended this. And Brandon, the reason most people from up here go to places like where you live is because we have winter.
Yeah.
I know you have the season, we have the event.
You have the real deal. Yeah.
We got the real deal. And when I was putting it together, I said, okay, well, people use a smoker or they use a grill because it creates a certain flavor. Mm. And they add a dry rub to it to enhance that flavor. Well, we use a really, really, really smoky paprika. And the reason for that is when it's 20 degrees out here and a blizzard and I want ribs, all right, when I was your age or younger, yeah, I'd get out there and shovel my way to the grill and get it going and, put on my heavy, get the heck out of here. I'll just stay in the house. And the trick is I set the oven at 250 degrees, rub up the ribs exactly the way I would outside, put them on a sheet, put them in the oven for 3 hours.
Mm. So you don't have to mess with that snow. You're inside.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. Good stuff.
When you cut them, yeah, I'm not going to have that smoke ring that the competition barbecuers have to win. But I'm not competing. I'm making dinner.
Yeah.
I want to eat it. It's like in competition, when you have a rib and you enter it for competition and the judge takes a bite, it better not come off the bone. Mm. Right? And yet, anybody who's been to a barbecue joint will come out and go, man, that was fall off the bone ribs. I love that. Mm-hmm. Well, why? Because they're eating. They're not competing. That's how we cook. We're not trying to teach people how to be professional, competitive barbecue people. We want people, if they live in a high-rise in Charlotte, where you can't have a grill, you can still use my rubs and make fantastic barbecue in your apartment.
Love that. Well,
right?
I love it. It makes a lot of sense. We had some friends had us over recently, and they did steaks, and she's actually from New Hampshire, and she said, I'm going to cook these on the stove, sear them for a few minutes, and then stick them in the oven. And we were like, that sounds real weird. One of the best steaks we ever had, honest to God. So yeah, we never, we have a grill, and it's like you said, we're in the South, so we grill out almost year round pretty much. So it's a luxury that we have that you don't, because we don't have to shovel to get outside the door as you know, in North Carolina. Well, let me ask you this, John. Were you a veteran as well yourself? Because I know you guys you're very proud of hiring veterans in your area that I mentioned in the show intro. How did that all come about?
Well, the answer to the first part of your question is yes. I served in the Navy a long, long time ago.
All right. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And one of the things, that a lot of people don't know about the state of Maine, it's the oldest state in the country as far as population. So our average age is almost 50 years old in the entire state.
Okay.
Right? Now, there's two reasons for that. One, we're too stubborn to move. But the other is, if you take Florida out of the equation, more people retire to Maine than almost any other state in the country. And, there's a couple of reasons. One, they seem to have it dialed in as far as taking care of people, when they reach that age. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of independent living, it's not nursing home type living. My stepmother is 88 years old, and she has her own place, comes and goes as she pleases, but it's all on one level.
Okay.
And, the rents to those places are all 100% based on just your Social Security. So it doesn't matter what you have in the bank, right? So it's very, very reasonable. And to me, that's great. When you get to be that age, that's what should happen. So consequently, what happens is that younger people getting out of college, just getting out of the military, don't have a lot of employment opportunities. Now, in the city of Portland or the capital or any of that stuff, sure. But where I am, Winter Harbor truly is a working lobster village. Very pretty, but every morning these guys get out, you hear the boats go, and off they go, and they're out in the ocean. So if you're not in the ocean or involved in somehow in the tourist industry, there's not a lot of opportunity. So the big panic in the state is young people are moving away because they can't afford to raise a family with what's available for income. Now, I can't fix that. What I can do is fix it for one at a time. Mm-hmm. And, rather than just say, okay, I'll fix it for anybody, it was just my decision as a veteran to say, you know what, I'd like to do it with veterans. I have an obvious connection, but I also understand that they will bring certain skills that I don't have to teach. And, at the levels that we talked about, at every 10,000 increment where we can hire another one, we can hire them for real jobs. I'm not looking for people that can pack a box. I can pack a box. Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to be packing boxes at this point.
Yeah, well, it's nice to say, but when it's your company and you're in a jam, you're packing boxes.
That's right. So you still pick up the broom and sweep the floor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if I can get that talent, not only do I benefit as a company, but they get to stay in a place where, yes, we have our winters, but in spite of that, it's a pretty darn good lifestyle. I could walk to the ocean, and it's not like Carolina Beach or Wrightsville Beach, all sand. It's just rocky, craggy,
freezing cold water. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't swim in it ever. I think you can revive heart attack victims by just dipping them in.
Yeah.
But the scenery, I think that the reason we have hard winters is because we have a great appreciation for summer and spring because it's beautiful up here. Mm-hmm. I'll bet you in the summer there are more North Carolina plates in Winter Harbor than there are Maine plates down in North Carolina in the wintertime.
Right.
It's crazy. We have a lot of people from many southern states literally come all the way up here. And, Winter Harbor is not one of those go for a weekend type places. Most people are here for a couple of weeks, a month. Some people have summer. They stay here all summer, which is great. But again, not a lot of other employment opportunities. So, that's the long version of why we went the way we did for hiring veterans.
I see. Well, that's outstanding that you guys do that. And again, thanks for your service in the Navy. Well, I've been talking to John Fuhrman, founder of Bub and Mutha's. Can you explain again how to get to that URL where folks can check this out and buy some of their own Bub and Mutha's dry rubs?
They got to imagine themselves in Maine.
Yes.
It's www.bubandmuthas.com, and that's BUBNMUTHAS, bubandmuthas.com.
All right. Well, thanks for elucidating the fact that people up there call Bub and you call your wife's Mutha. I had no idea. I thought it was like your nickname and your mom's nickname or something, but Bub and Mutha's. So next time I'm in Maine, I'm going to start calling everybody Bub or Mutha, depending on it is. And it's not the kind of mother you think, but right? People call you a mother down here, you're going to be getting upset.
Yeah, it could be. But if you sprinkle a little rub on it, it makes everything better.
Rub makes everything taste better. Well, John, congratulations. Real quick, you're mostly in Maine. Do you have these visions of it being nationwide or beyond?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I'll tell you what, and I probably should have said it earlier, but if any of your listeners have a store that you'd like to see us in, if they can go to the website and there's contact info to get it to me. If they send it in and, we'll send the store samples. And if they decide to stock us, we'll send them a 4-pack of rub just to say thanks. So, yeah, world domination,
Oh, yeah. Outstanding.
Body by barbecue,
Yeah. I mean, it's like Burt's Bees, man. I just have that vision, 20 years from now, you guys Bub and Mutha's everywhere.
I will tell you a funny story about Burt's Bees. Roxanne Quimby, the founder, lives a mile and a half from me.
All right.
She's right up there in Winter Harbor, Maine. She's still doing that, and she, on her own, runs a farmer's market.
Okay.
Just for something to do, but she's like a billionaire.
I was going to say she's fine. She doesn't need to worry about her Social Security getting her a place to stay in Winter Harbor, does she? Right?
No, I don't travel in her social circles either.
Oh, man. Yeah, she did all right with that. She was sort of the brains behind the operation, was she not?
Correct.
Yeah, she kind of saw the vision where the guy, Bert, who just wanted to keep his little beehives, on the property, but she had bigger vision for that company for sure. And which, by the way, relocated to North Carolina many years ago. So I don't think a lot of people know that, but their main manufacturing is in our state. So we love Burt's Bees too here.
Well, there you go. Now maybe we'll do the same thing with Bub and Mutha's.
Yeah, you got to move back here, man. You'll escape those brutal winters and you'll be able to grill out year round. So what's stopping you? You got to get back down here.
Well, let me build it in Maine and then I'll be back.
All right. How's that? Yeah, it sounds good. Or anytime you want to just escape, just start heading south. We'll welcome you back.
I appreciate it. Thanks for everything, Brendan.
Thanks so much, John.